Well, hey, Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. In this one, we're looking at something very cool. Very cool. It's the metal build Crossbone Gundam X1. Yeah, another metal build beside the F91 that I had reviewed previously. So yeah, let's take a look. But before we get started, if you haven't, please subscribe. And as you're watching the video and you think it's pretty cool, give it a like. And then check the links in the description. Some very cool stuff going on, including the Patreon. And we have movie night, some other exclusive stuff. So yeah, let's get started. All right, and here we have it. Metal build X1 Crossbone Gundam. Very cool. You know, from future UC after F91. So, you know, this figure's not really to scale with anything else, maybe other than what's in the metal build series. And I actually brought over the real grade and the robot spirits, which are not even to scale either, but just to kind of see a comparison of them. Even the colors. I gotta say, I think I like the real grade use of the orange. I appreciate the metal build gold. And yeah, I think the robot spirits is too much of that yellow. But taking a look at it itself, if you're familiar with Crossbone, what's cool about it is it's kind of a typical Gundam design. You know, it's when there's a subsequent story and you see Gundam or even the alternate universes, they take the original design of their XM-X1 and they kind of add to it. And what's cool about this is it's a very streamlined, straightforward mech design. The only thing, and something that typically I wouldn't like, but I don't mind here, is its aesthetic of being a pirate. So it's kind of almost like a goofy thing to put on top of something like a mech. I've been able to like look past that and consider this thing just super cool anyway. And so that's why when I see that there's a metal build, gotta get hold of it. All right, I want to go through the engineering and articulation, so I'm going to take out the core fighter to kind of show off how that works. So as you can see, and then it looks like the other little beam saber part came out. Here's the core fighter that is in it and is cool. Let me see if I can get this back on. So anyway, I'm a fan of core fighters. I love that idea that there's some little ship that can like dock inside of a mobile suit, and I think while a lot do it right, I think the way it's done in Crossbone is like my favorite interpretation of that. Yeah, I guess here's what it's supposed to look like in its jet form. You know, I haven't messed around with it. It does come with a piece for a stand. We'll look at that here shortly, so I like that you can get it in its fighting form. Just interesting, you know, that these are the beam sabers as well. That's just something I wasn't too familiar with. But yeah, I'm going to put this down and we're going to take a look at this guy here. So I'm using one of the heads that happens to transform. We might look at that a little later, but if I forget, just in case. Like with the F91, there is a little trigger on the back of this head. It comes with an alternate head, but at least with this one, I can kind of do that, which is pretty cool, and then have it go back. Neat little gimmick there. So moving down, I'm not going to spend too much time, but a lot of what we see is very typical with these Bandai action figures, the premium ones. Some stuff with metal build, it seems to be consistent. So we have these clasps up here, but this is for the cape part that we'll get to later. You know, yeah, the head, typical stuff. And again, it comes off so you can add in an additional one. But with the arms, something we see a lot are, you know, how the shoulder armor can move up quite a bit. Articulates in the front too for holding up, you know, a weapon or something, so you don't actually have to pull the shoulder back all the way. I think that's kind of helpful for wanting to maintain a certain look. And then yeah, the side of the shoulders here underneath, it has these little guards that we'll sometimes see. And then a typical arm. You know, it's got the metal joints in there, but yeah, you got this good elbow bend. Not going to argue about any of that articulation there. It's even got the turn at the wrist, so depending on type of weapon it's going to hold, or if you're going to use this, which is another thing that articulates. Let me try to get this out. Yeah, there we go. This is something where you can add some other accessories to it. We'll look at it in a little bit, but pretty cool there. So just kind of built in there, stays out of the way. Let's see. Let's look at the abdomen. I haven't looked at that much. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's a pretty good forward. Let's see. Doesn't really do the back much. But, you know, it would have something docked in here or a cape, and so I don't think that's really a primary useful articulation out of these. This does a waist swivel. It doesn't go all the way. It does kind of stick, but, you know, that's like enough for some action there. skirt armor. That just came off. This I noticed pops off often easily, and I think that's okay. It's very simple joint. You can kind of see how this just clicks in. So whereas that might pop off easily, it's better than it breaking off easily. But moving down to the skirt armor again, yeah, we have the side skirts. There's some movability there. Let's see if I was to move the leg up. Seems to be a point that it stops, so I wouldn't, or would I, risk it too much more. Okay, you can get the leg up there pretty high. And with this, yeah, there's a lot of room for that forward. And let's see about the back. See if that has an additional, it does not have an additional, so it has this spot right here, but that doesn't like do a drop or anything. It's all one articulated piece. So moving this back, it kind of seems to stop. So that's as far back as it goes, not too bad. And it does that. Again, who goes super crazy with their Gundam articulation? I think you can do just enough. So yeah, let's look at the real quick actually. Back skirts, full articulation goes up quite a bit actually. A lot of good design there. But the front is pretty neat. This is part of its accessories. You can easily take this piece out that goes back in easily. I feel like this is better than most articulation we see with pieces that are supposed to stay in. Just this, the way the connector piece works really keeps it in, but makes it easy to pull in and out. It's actually a rubber right there. But, you know, this is supposed to be like the grappling hook thing. Let me see if I can remember how to move it into place. Yeah, there you go. And then it's got a connector piece we'll look at here shortly. Even another piece here for putting this on a stand. I'll show that off here shortly also. Okay, now moving down to the legs. Now we saw all that range it gets in the hips. It's actually pretty good, even if it doesn't seem like there's clearance from these. Okay, that came off easily, but yeah, it's that same type of rubber joint that this goes into, which I like. Comes out easily. Which is good, so it doesn't break. Yeah, you can still get range that you need, even if that does pop. So, you know, really can't complain too much about all that because it really does a good job. Let's see, some rotation at the upper thigh, but it does stop at a point, but that's perfectly fine. We saw the knee earlier. Coming down to the bottom of the foot, it has the guard that we see a lot, and it's movable to some degree just for not breaking or stabbing. And then the bottom of the feet here, let's see, the feet move up quite a bit back. Let's see if there's any more. Yeah, it looks like with the toes you can kind of move them down a little bit more. Let's see, side to side. Oh yeah, there's a lot of kind of this like side to side, so you can get articulation there. So oh yeah, you know what, there's a little secret feature in here. It's the hilt for the knife that we'll see shortly. So anyway, when it comes to articulation, I mean, this thing does it. It works. No complaints. Yeah, especially with the arms. I actually didn't look at that all the way, but you know, it really allows a lot of articulation there. You see kind of the joint, how it sticks out. So looks good there. But you know, something that's interesting about the design is, you know, this Robot Spirits does a good job of really replicating what it looks like. I guess this would be the manga. That's where it appears in. And then we can see the liberties taken with this metal build version. I think the details are just right. It's not too much. It's just right to kind of give it a realistic, grounded look to it. It kind of pulls back a little bit on its almost cartoony appearance with the primary colors being a pirate theme. You know, this metal build version really does a good job. Even how it's working the sleeves down here. I've been a fan of that sleeves design that we see from Neo Zeon. And while there's that red at the bottom here, I love how this incorporates kind of the gold around it to really give it that look of cuffs that would be potentially on some sort of pirate coat or something. So yeah, they totally pulled this off, and that looks great. All right, let's look at accessories. All right, lots of stuff here. Bear with me. I will spend time on the important stuff. So right here is the stand, and the stand is actually really cool. Not only does it come with a connector piece for the main dude to sit on there fine, it also comes with a connector piece for the base of this. That means you can take this out and use it in other ones. It has a little spot to put in this type stand. You know, this could be used for the little grappling that comes off of the front skirt, maybe some other things as well. I guess, yeah, if you wanted to maybe have the figure and then the core fighter separately, there's some options there. And I'll show it on the stand a little later, but yeah, this is a cool stand. All right, and then here is The gun, that's pretty cool. I actually have the hand on it. I just took it off when I was replacing it. But, you know, I love how it has this right here because that goes up against the wrist and then the figure really holds it well. You know, a cool thing about this is the transforming aspect, the nature of it, whereas, you know, this then turns into like a flintlock pistol or whatever that attaches to the side via this connector piece here. So that's a cool option there. And then also this, the handle that's actually sticking out folds in. This moves up, and then it is a sword. And I'll probably show that off here in a second. Yeah, let me move that down so we can kind of see. And again, this plugs in on the side. So what's cool about that is the figure's carrying weapons on him that can then transform and do their own little gimmicky things. Here is one of the blades. Let's see, let me get that in correctly. So one of the blades, that looks pretty cool. You know, it's kind of goofy in that pirate way, but, you know, it still works. And then there's actually an alternate one. Plug this in here. And, yeah, just a little skinnier, a little more in line with what you would expect, other than something like this that looks completely, you know, almost like cartoony in a way. But I still think it's cool. All right, here is that little, I guess, carrier holder thing for the core fighter. I haven't really used it, and it could be that I am still using it incorrectly, but I guess this plugs in on that connector piece for the base, and then that's just another option for displaying. And this is another piece, actually, that was on that gun I missed, and I thought I had lost it before, but no, it was in the box. Just another small little piece to lose, and there's a lot more of that, and I'll get to that here shortly. All right, beam saber blades for the two beam sabers that are included with the figure. So even though Crossbone Gundam has its own pirate sword, it also has the two beam sabers. And also beam shields, and it has two of them. And this feels like a very good material. I've never felt something like this before. But this goes on the front. There was the piece on the arm we were looking at that kind of folds and extends out to the front. You plug these in. I'll have some poses of that later. And here's some other ones that are kind of the same thing, but these are like daggers instead of shields. Yeah, and these plug in and can be used to attack. All right, here is that other head. It's just a non-transforming one. Also has the eye patch, which is pretty cool on there. Again, it's like super goofy, but it just looks right, so I don't mind it. Okay, so these two knives, you know, earlier I was talking about on the back of the figure, just like with the real grade and the robot spirits, you can pull out this knife, plug it in, and there we go, another weapon. But what's also neat about it is you can actually plug it in the bottom of the foot. Again, same thing with the real grade and the robot spirits, just kind of a cool option to be there. All right, and then we have these two chains, that, so that part of the skirt armor we took off, you could plug that in, and then the other piece plugs right on that. Actually, I can do it here real quick. So I unplug that, I grab the piece here, you can kind of hopefully see there's a hole there. This just plugs right in here. Then once you have them in a safe, stable place, you can then, yeah, flip around the hooks on this, plug in the connector piece there, and then voila. It's got the chain, it's got heft to it, weight to it, because it is metal as far as it seems, and yeah, there's that connector piece that goes, actually, it's on here already, so I can kind of show that real quick. You can take that connector piece off, but it's made specifically for this. Why it's not made to just plug in there directly, I don't know, but I don't mind. It's all right. Let me move this. Okay, let's get into some hands, and then we'll get into some other cooler accessories. Yes, there's still more. So the hands are cool. I like how it seems to be with the Robot Spirits version and the metal build, the hands are proportionately a little bit larger than on the real grade, and I feel like that gives it a good look. Sometimes tiny hands on a mobile suit doesn't look that good. I've noticed that sometimes, but we're going to see all the typical type of things. Trigger fingers at different lengths, I guess, depending on the gun you're using, since there's a plethora of them, but closed fist, completely molded shut closed. We have kind of a bigger holding hand. This one, it's a closed fist, but open just enough so you can put like the beam saber blade, the small one, or the chain, because there's enough where you can like move the thumb on here to do that. And here's a relaxed hand, something that we see every once in a while. And then here's an example of the smaller trigger finger versus the larger one. Yeah, just because like this would be for the rifle version, this would be for like the flintlock version, just because of the size of the handles. All right, so some interesting accessories coming up. One is this bird, and you know, it's funny because again, pirates, you would see a pirate on their shoulder. That's literally what this is for. It has connector pieces that you can, actually there's one already in there. There's a couple of them, depending on how you want to plug the bird in, with or without the cape. This is for without the cape. The top of the shoulder actually has a connector piece right in there. And then the one that's in here is for the cape itself, which yeah, we're going to look at right now. Let me grab that. This is one of, I would say, the biggest complaints, yet at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. This seems like such a convoluted setup for a cape. You know, we see, yeah, this is for the real grade. The real grade and the Robot Spirits have the plastic ones you could put on, but you know, I can understand wanting cloth, but even with this cloth, it's not what I expect. We can see these specific plastic pieces that also have the yellow tabs on them. Now this could be a design element where it looks like they're trying to keep the fabric together, and that could be in some manga that I just haven't seen yet. And then we also have on the shoulders, there's this plastic, both underneath and on top, that helps with the shoulders. And then a ball joint here to these three ball jointed things. This is to kind of give it some height. And it's not the best. I'm almost surprised they went this way. It seems like they could have just used a wire instead, because I had to build this when I got it out of the packaging. I had to clip all of it in specific ones, specific ways. I had to clip all that in. It was kind of annoying. It was almost like I had to build something. And then again, I'll say, like, it's kind of an underwhelming cape. I don't mind too much because it still looks really good. Yeah, let me put it on so you guys can see. Yeah, first of all, you have to take this front out, and yeah, it seems to come out pretty easy. And then you just drape this over. It looks like you don't have to take off the head. But you know what I actually should do first that I haven't is put in the core fighter. So if you guys want to take a look, it has, you know, the beam saber parts here, and those, do I have that in all the way? I don't know. That would come up. Okay, I want to make sure I have these on right. This would fold down. That way it can plug in not only to the back, but the beam sabers at the top shoulder that way. And it seems to click in pretty good because this can focus. There you have it. Without the piece at the top, because that's what the cape. But then on the back, you can actually pull this. Yeah, I guess it's more down. It even has this here. Okay, yeah, you pull that down, and that gives you the room you need. Man, that starts making it heavier, but in a good way. Okay, so then I grab this, throw it on top. So there's these little clips on the side. I want to move those. Okay, and when plugging this in, you're also wanting to get the clasp to go in there. Normally, you would have the cape, the bottom plastic part on, then the cape, then the top part on, but I'm doing it where I don't have to take apart the bottom and just have it fit in. So, like that. So that made it a little easier for me so I don't have to undo everything. All right, and then this front piece also kind of just fits in, and for me, it's never seemed like super snug, but it seems to work. So there's that. Okay, so with the cape on, you know, there's a few options here. You know, over on the sides, there's a gap for the arm if you want the arm to stick out for whatever reason. It could be, yeah, due to a pose or something. And, you know, the front also has, and this pops out pretty easily. Yeah, again, they could have done better because really you don't have much room and then it just pops out. Like it's expecting you to do it from low, I guess. So another thing is you can manipulate the thrusters of the core fighter if you kind of wanted to give it like a different look with the cape here, which it's just okay. Like you can move the arm up and then it breaks the piece off because it can only go so high. You know, again, the cape is a cool look, and it can work. I feel like something better could have been done for this. It reminds me of the Mafex Batman cape in a way, which was actually pretty good, and they refined it and made it better over time. But yeah, just I like the wires in that. But what does work is when you want to have them kind of in a more of a relaxed default pose with the cape. I kind of think it gives it a cool menacing look, especially if you want to add menacing to that. Where is Parrot? Pop him on, which doesn't seem as sturdy with the stand, but it makes it sturdy as possible. So I mean, that looks cool. I mean, just standing there with the cape kind of draped like that, and I wonder if there's like maybe, you know, the fabric maybe needs to sit on it a certain way. Looking at the box, it does look like it's just a little bit, but not too much over it. And then, yeah, the pieces here, they're on ball joints. They stick down. So doing this, giving it that Batman look with the pirate, that looks cool. Any other poses, a little weird. All right, with the arms, you know, the little thing sticking out in the front, which is pretty cool. It has connector points, and you can kind of see here, where there's like a specific pattern on here. And let's see if I get it the first time or not. Let me plug these in. Yeah, maybe that did it. That seems pretty sturdy. So you can see there. That probably wouldn't be the hand you would use for this, but so that could be shooting out forward like we actually see in SD Gundam Battle Alliance, but I think really it's made to be the shield on the side. But I mean, multiple uses. All right, and then another one is the dagger style thing. Let's see if I can get this in on the first try also. Yeah, it seems to go in pretty nice, fit nicely. Again, cool dagger. You can like dual that, which is pretty sick. Yeah, again, the cape just keeps coming off because there's not much you can do with it when it's, yeah, plugged in. All right, and there you have it, the Crossbone Gundam X1 metal build. Just a sick unit. Love Crossbone, love the metal build series. It looks great. The accessories are awesome. My only complaint has to do with the cape. You know, I can get over that. You know, one thing I wanted to bring up, I almost forgot, is, you know, there's these connector pieces here, and there's a ton of them. There's so many that they actually include extras. I also want to add that I bought this off Mandarake. So I got it pre-owned from Japan, and it was at a reduced price because it was missing one of these little things I was talking about, the little yellow piece. It's so small I can't focus. Anyway, I thought to myself, well, you know, I'll check Midnight Hatter's one of the recent live streams. If you haven't checked that out, please do, where he talked about how to recreate pieces for Gunpla using products easily available, create molds, and I was like, you know what, that's what I'm gonna do when it comes in. What was a great thing was that those were extra pieces, so even though it was missing one, it was missing one among extras that were already there. So I got this thing as a complete package at a reduced price. I still think at normal price it's worth it. This is just awesome construction, awesome design. All right, so there you have it, the X1 Crossbone metal build, and you can kind of see how big it is next to my head. Really awesome figure to have on the shelf. I love that it comes with the stand too, so you can just display it and make it look awesome next to maybe some other Crossbone Gundams. But anyway, curious what you think. What do you think of the Crossbone? What do you think of the metal build series? And the fact that there's like 3 or 4 other metal build Crossbone figures I would love to get my hands on. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, peace out.